welcome to another Horror Review Sunday. Today we are tackling H.P. Lovecraft's Re-Animator. I got the Arrow Blu-ray transfer. Now this movie is a pretty good transfer. The opening scene looked a little rough, but then the rest of it was clear. So I was a little worried at first, but this is a good Blu-ray transfer. It's got tons of special feature content. Like, look, it's got all this shit. It's like so much. So many interviews, behind the scenes, like an hour-long documentary, like making of, 2 different like audio commentaries, and I love that shit. I've seen the movie now, and I saw the commentary, I saw the making of. I was really interested in that shit. I love knowing all the behind the scenes stuff. I've seen like almost every commentary for like all the Friday the 13th. I'm into that stuff. And this movie had a very low budget, less than $1 million. This was directed by Stuart Gordon, who did Castle Freak, which I reviewed last week. So here's another one. Stuart Gordon and Brian Yuzna produced this, and he went on to direct the Dentist movies, which I really like those. Those were in my ranking of video for February movies I watched for the first time. I really liked those two. I put them like my top 10. So if you haven't seen The Dentist and The Dentist 2, I would recommend those. Those are underappreciated slasher movies. But let's talk about this one. This movie has 90-some% on Rotten Tomatoes, like 93%. So this movie is not just a typical, only appreciated by true horror fans film. Like, this is a film that critics love. I think even Roger Ebert had a positive review for this movie because he really dug it. It's a movie that really does a good job like blending comedy and horror together. And this is supposed to be like an adaptation of an H.P. Lovecraft book, but it's loosely based on it, and they originally wanted this to be like a TV series with like half-hour long episodes, but then, Brian Yuzna got involved and was like, fuck that, the money isn't making movies. No one wants to see TV series no more. Horror movies should always be feature-length films, and good decision. This was also supposed to be in black and white. That was the original idea. And this movie would probably look good in black and white. It's got that, 1940s, Frankenstein feel to it when they're in, like, the laboratories and they're in the morgue. It's basically like a Frankenstein story where they're trying to bring things to life. So it's definitely got that going. But then if it was black and white, the whole aesthetic, the look of the reagent, the glow stick juice that they're using, that would not be effective. You wouldn't see it. It would just be black and white. So not necessarily a good decision to make this black and white, but I wonder what this would look like in black and white. So we got Arnold Schwarzenegger's stunt double in here. I thought that was interesting. So was he the body double in Terminator also? Because we see his ass in this one. So I'm wondering if that's the same ass we see in Terminator. It must be. Why am I wondering weird things like that? Because I'm weird. So, this movie is low budget, but what they were able to pull off is pretty good, pretty amazing. Like, there's little gags here and there where you're like, holy shit, that's great for such a small budget. And even John Carl Buechler did some of the effects in this movie. He did some of the effects for like the opening scene where the guy's eyes are like bulging out, and that wasn't originally in the movie. That was like post-production. They were done with the film, but then they decided that they should open up with something crazy to let the audience know what they were in for. And that's another good thing about the movie, is that it lets you know what you're in for right away. So that was a smart decision. I'm glad that opening scene was put in. I like the cast in this movie. You got Barbara Crampton, a scream queen, Chopping Mall, and then she was in Castle Freak 10 years later with Jeffrey Combs, Herbert West in this movie as her wife. As her husband. So it's like they don't like each other in this movie. She's dating somebody else, and then 10 years later, they're both in the movie together as husband and wife. It's just very interesting. I love Herbert West's character. He has some of the best lines. I love it when there's that cat in the basement, and he's like, look out, pretending like it came back to life. It's just hilarious. His character is wacky as hell. And of course, I love the gore effects in this movie. You got chests being, drilled into with bone saws. You got eyes popping. You got like big old cow intestines coming out of the chest cavity. all kinds of gnarly stuff. And then there's even severed heads and a Victor Crowley kill in this movie. But of course, this is way before Victor Crowley, but it reminded me of Hatchet with the Asian guy getting his head shoveled off. And I really like the reagent thing, the way it glows. It's just a cool visual. And apparently it's glow stick juice, like some kind of glow stick material. You know, they want to act like it's the first time on film that you ever see glow sticks. Is that true? I doubt it. I don't know. And I love the score. It's very Psycho-esque. It sounds like the Psycho score a little bit. Just the way this movie opens up, and then that music cue, the music starts, and then you got like the animation of all the different flashing colors. It just looks beautiful, and the score is just fantastic. And I like that this movie is not like typical zombie movies. This is like a zombie movie, but it's also a Frankenstein movie, so it's like a weird blend. Because the zombies, because they're coming back from the dead, so technically they are zombies. This is technically kind of a zombie movie, although I don't think most people would classify it as one. But this isn't like other zombie movies. They're not out for your brains. They're not walking around slow. They're like controlled by the mind of somebody else. Like they're like hypnotized. So it's different. This movie is very insane and just balls to the wall crazy. And when you get to the third act, it just gets ramped up, and there's all kinds of reanimated bodies attacking, people getting ripped limb from limb. This movie was just absolutely fun. And yeah, like I said, I like Wes's character, and you get boobs, you get Barbara Crampton's boobs, so that's always a plus. Now, the only thing is that these are just nitpicks. Not really things that are majorly wrong with the film, but Dr. Hill, he's clearly wearing a wig. His hair looks awful. And then I didn't care for his voice when he's reanimated and head when he comes back to life. The way he's talking all slow and dragging out every syllable. It was just kind of annoying to me. Like, just because you're brought back to life doesn't mean you gotta talk slow like that. He's the only one that does that. Everybody else that comes back to life doesn't seem to have the ability to talk, so why does he have that ability?
You stop.
There's a door for Dr. Hill's office, and it's clearly broken, the window, and then later on, it's not broken. Anybody want to explain that? And this movie, despite how crazy it is, I never found myself laughing that much. I never really chuckled. So as funny as some moments were, like the cat in the basement scene and the severed head, going down on Barbara Crampton, as crazy as things get, nothing was really funny, like for me personally. So, comedy is subjective. What I find funny, you might not find funny. But I never really laughed during this movie. I was just like, wow, this is crazy. It was fun, but it wasn't funny. I wasn't really laughing. So this could have been funnier, in my opinion. And so yeah, just little nitpicks. And it feels like scenes are missing. And then when I find out after I watch the movie and I like look into it, that scenes were missing. And there's this whole subplot that was taken out of the movie. This movie is going to be like over 2 hours long. And now it's 1 hour and 20. So then when you're watching the movie, you're like, yeah, it makes sense why this scene is like this. And then like they just go from here to here and there's no explanation. Like how the dad of Barbara Crampton is just like crazy in that office. Just like, you're suspended and, I'm taking away your loan. And it's just like, really? Because he did what? Brought back someone from the dead? That's a miracle. You should be blowing him because he is going to make your school famous now. And you're going to suspend him. But then come to find out why he was acting that way was because he was hypnotized at the dinner scene that we never got to see. So they should have at least left that little extension in the film. So I don't know. Is there a different cut of the movie that it's like the full thing, 2 hours long? I mean, I don't think this movie needs to be 2 hours long, but there's just certain things that they should have kept in it. Because they keep some of the hypnosis stuff in it, where he's telling Herbert West, like, you're going to give me your work. And then he just gives him the book. But then he kind of snaps out of it and he grabs the shovel. Like, they have little things of hypnosis in it. And then when he's staring at the reanimated dad and through the glass window, he's staring into his eyes, and then he controls him, and he does these laser surgeries on their heads. So there's like all this like subplot stuff taken out of the movie, and it's jarring when you get to that scene and the principal, or whatever the hell he is, the college guy, I don't know, the guy who runs the college, he's just going off on Dean. That's his name, right? King? Dean King? No, that's the name of Superman. I think his name's King, right? Whatever, doesn't matter. Bruce Abbott, the actor, when he's just going off on him, it just feels not legit. It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't make sense why he's so crazy in that scene. And then, yeah, like I said, you find out some stuff was taken out, and that was a mistake. I feel like they should have kept some stuff in here. Now, the hottest chick in this movie is obviously Barbara Crampton, aka Megan. And the Clapper Award for Best Scene is when the head is raping Megan when she's on the gurney. It was just hilarious and wacky. But anyways, final thoughts. If you haven't seen this cult classic, it is definitely worth picking up if you're a fan of old school 80s practical effects and wild, just zany movies that don't take itself too serious. If you like horror comedies, this is a classic worth checking out. So when it comes to Re-Animator, definitely go out and buy it. It's a very rewatchable movie too. Like, it just flies by. When I was watching the commentary on the second view, it just flew by. I was like, holy shit, it's already over? So yeah, just an 85-minute movie. It flies by. Now let's get into some more spoilers. Let's get a little bit more specific. So we open up in Switzerland, and you got the dad from Dolls, and Ian Patrick Williams, I think is his name, and he had a little small bit in Terror Vision, and this guy's in all kinds of Stuart Gordon films. So it was just fun to see him, and he's speaking with a bad German accent. His German pronunciation wasn't that good. It's just funny to hear him try to speak German. Er's tot. The doctor's eyes are bulging out, popping. John Carl Buechler effect. And then we get to see a fat and naked corpse. That was a woman, right? I could have swore Dean, if that's his name, he was like, he just needs more time. It's a girl. Why did he call him? The other doctor, which was the mom in Dolls. So you got both the mom and dad from Dolls in this movie, and the mom is the wife of the director. Did not know that. So you got both of them in this movie, and it was just fun to see them. Yeah, she was calling the girl, a girl, and the main guy in this movie who we're following called her a guy. I could have swore that's what he did. I could be wrong. I like that cut from like no to yes. Barbara Crampton's yelling like, no, stop. And then it cuts to her saying yes as they're having sex. And then we get a typical cat scare. In a horror movie, you always gotta have a cat scare. But this cat looks like it was clearly thrown onto them. It didn't just naturally like pop up on the bed. It jumped on them after being thrown. It was thrown. It had to be. I wonder how many takes that was. Just throw the cat, throw the cat. So yeah, then the cat's dead, and apparently they used a real cat. I'm not sure if that's true, but they said that in the commentary that was supposed to be like a real cat. It looked kind of fake, so I doubt that's true. I think they were lying. But the cat's dead, and Barbara Crampton's character Megan, she automatically is like, get this guy out of here. I know he killed him. He had to. But he brings the cat back to life, and I love that scene when they're in the basement and they're just attacking the walls. You don't even see the cat, but they're just attacking everything. I like the light. It's just like swaying back and forth, the way that scene's lit. And then when he's like, look out! It's like, making him think that the cat's attacking him, but it's not.
Look out!
But then he's at the morgue, and you see all these bodies that are wrapped in garbage bags instead of actual morgue bags, because that's how low budget this was. They even had the same gurney from Return of the Living Dead, the one with the half corpse on it. They had that one in this movie as a prop for the head of Dr. Hill. That's how low budget it was. They were borrowing shit from other films. But you can see one of the bags moving because the actor was clearly breathing underneath there. And Brian Yuzna was one of the corpses. And then we get Arnold Schwarzenegger's stunt double being reanimated. He's back, and he crushes the Megan's dad with the door, and he just bites his fingers off, and then his fingers come back later on in the movie. I guess that got reanimated too, and just throws him all over the place, and then he gets the bone saw through the chest. Great effect. And then they try to bring back Megan's dad. very quickly. Like, I'm not sure what killed him. Was the blood loss from fingers? Was his, you know, chest just crushed from the door? What exactly killed him? Just being thrown against the wall? I mean, I don't know. I didn't see anything where I'm like, oh, that killed him. I was just like, oh, he's dead? Huh. All right. I guess he's just old and fragile. That throw against the wall broke every bone. And then they bring him back, and I like that when Megan comes in, he's basically like ashamed of who he is, so he goes to the corner to hide. And then they somehow got him in a straitjacket. I would have loved to see how they did that, because he is very like quick moving. Like, it would have been hard to get him in that straitjacket. So I don't know how they pulled that off. Why didn't they just try CPR on the dad? Like, as soon as he was dead, they didn't try anything. They just went straight to the medicine that they knew worked. They should have at least tried CPR. After all, the main character, he's established as somebody who really likes to keep trying CPR on people. And the creepy doc in this movie has like a file with Megan's hair in it, so we know he's clearly obsessed with this woman who's like 40 years younger than him. He's clearly like in his 60s, upper 50s, low 60s at least. And she's a 20-year-old college student. He's all over her, and he's going to try to hypnotize her. And that's another thing. There's a scene where I think he's trying to hypnotize her, but you don't know that because that's all taken out. So that scene just looks odd when he's like staring at her, and he's like, you will do this. And it's like, okay. And then the dad like distracts her and breaks her out of it, I guess. So yeah, just like the whole subplot got taken out, so it made the movie feel kind of choppy, and the editing of it was just kind of off. It felt like things were missing because they were. I like it. I like that the head for some reason needs air to breathe. Like that severed head is in the bag, and like when he unzips it, he's like, "Oh, finally, like some air." You don't need to breathe. Your lungs are in the body that you're not connected to no more. And how the body knows where it's going, it doesn't seem like his head's controlling the body. It seems like the body is on its own. It's its own mind now. Because when he sees the body moving around and it's like crashing into things, he's like rolling his eyes like he's embarrassed by the body that was once his. So who's actually in control of the body? In my mind, the body is moving itself, not the severed head. Those are two separate things now. That's how I see it. And so I like the scene where he gets his head shoveled off, Victor Crowley style, but wasn't a smart decision to blackmail somebody, act like, if you don't give me your research, I'm going to frame you for murder and then keep your eye off of them for so long. It would have been a cooler kill if he just would have came up behind Dr. Hill and just shoved his head really hard onto that telescope thing, and the thing went right through his eye. That's what I thought was going to happen. Just push him on it. Boom, right through the eye. But then he just whacks him Norman Bates style over the head with a shovel and then chops his head off. And then I like when he's like trying to stick the head on the dish and it won't stay up, so he takes like that needle paper thing for stacking papers and he just props it underneath it. And then we get the cliche terrible guard who doesn't know how to actually be a good security guard. He's always looking at like girly magazines. He's always excited when it's break time. And the Dr. Hill shows up with like this fake head that was in his office earlier. And he never once looks up to see who it is. And if he had, he would have been busted in that moment. And I just like that he looks up, he can't see the face, and he's like, "Who is that? Is that you, Dr. Hill?" And he's like, yes, it's me. And then he's like, "Oh, okay." Terrible guard. But then this is when the third act kicks in. He's done this surgery, hypnosis surgery on everyone's brain. Like he's done his special lobotomy thing, and now they're all his zombies, reanimated, whatever. And just on cue, when he says the word, they all just come up. But right before that, that's when you get the head. He's going down on Barbara Crampton, and that actor, David Gale, I think that's his name, his wife left him in the theater. Like, she just left. He should have warned her, like, "Hey, honey, in this movie, my severed head, which is actually my head, me acting for it, like, it's me, I'm going down on a girl, and I'm, like, licking her boobies and whatnot." But he didn't warn her, so she left him. But it's just a movie. Get over it. Yeah, that's just hilarious to learn about that he lost a wife because of this movie and his work on it. That's just hilarious. And so like I said, all the bodies come alive, and you got like burnt ones and ones that are amputees, one with like a shotgun wound to the face. All the makeup work on them was pretty good. And then you see like cow intestines reverse motion go around Herbert West's character, and I think he dies. I'm not. Does he come back? I know there's a Bride of Re-Animator and there's a Beyond Re-Animator. I haven't seen those, but I think Herbert West dies. At least it's heavily implied. He just throws his medical bag to Kane's character. I hope that's his name. Otherwise, I'll look stupider. Because I already look stupid in all my videos, but I don't want to look stupider and sound stupid if I'm saying the wrong name. I think his name's Kane. I didn't write it down, and I should do that from now on. Kane, the main guy. He throws his bag to him, and then, him and his girlfriend Megan, I know her name, they try to escape. They get in the elevator. The guy tries to strangle her, succeeds, because Kane is too slow. He can't overpower the guy, so he gets the axe, chops the arm off. Awesome. But she's strangled. She's dead. And then he just takes that reagent and he's like, I'm going to bring her back. Which at the beginning of the movie, there's no way he would come to that decision. But throughout the movie, I think it makes a little bit of sense why he would do that, because he's just been through so much crazy shit. He loves her so much. They're engaged. So anybody would try to bring them back. But yeah, I can see the argument that it doesn't make sense why he would bring her back, because you've seen the results multiple times. Whether it's a fresh corpse or not, they always come back crazy. And for the most part, they can't even talk. Unless you're Dr. Hill, he can talk. Not very good. Very slow. So it's just like, I get it, you love her, but isn't it the definition of insanity doing the same thing over and over and over again? You're expecting a different result. She's going to come back crazy, and she basically does. The screen goes black, you just see that green goo, and then you hear Barbara Crampton's her famous scream, and it's over. Just a great ending. And it sets up the sequel for Bride of Re-Animator, which came out, I think, in 1990. And I will try to get to that one sometime in the future. I'm not sure if it's available right now. If I can find it somewhere, I will watch it and review it. But until then, this will be the only one I go over, is the first one. So, the Mr. Hat Award for Best Kill will go to Dr. Hill, who gets his head shoveled right off, like Sean and Victor Hatcher 1. And then the Mr. Twig Award for Lamest Kill will go to Megan, who gets strangled while her pathetic boyfriend takes forever to get a fire axe. And those are my thoughts on Re-Animator. Let me know what you thought about this movie in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button, share it with all your friends. I really appreciate it. And become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.